Hello, good day. This is Kingsley Abedi again. Today I'll be talking about 30% capital gain tax and the impact on the Nigerian stock market. Recently, the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, has said the introduction of a 30% capital gain tax will boost the valuation of Nigerian companies and yield long-term benefit for the economy. Okay, this is Kingsley Abedi. Don't forget, I'm a por- portfolio management expert. Currently, I'm a UK accounting and tax analyst. Okay, so I'm here for you. Whether accounting, tax, stock market, which is my core strength, I'm here to give you the breakdown. And of course, please subscribe to this channel because towards the end of this year, I'm going to give a general overview of 2026. It's a projection, so I'm sure you will definitely need that. Okay, so you will need that guide to know how to get, to know what you should expect, from the Nigerian economy in 2026. Well, let's talk about capital gain tax and Nigerian capital market. Now, policy reform summary, October 2025. Now, policy shift overview. Now, if you look at the new tax regime, it is to take effect effective January 2026. Now, what does this mean? It means that for foreign investors, actually, this policy is targeted at foreign portfolio investors. Now, why is it targeted at foreign portfolio investors? Because over time, these foreign portfolio investors, there's what we call hot money, okay, money that will not stay for long. They bring it into the economy, you know, boost the stock market temporarily, make their profit, and they leave. Now, so this is exactly what Taiwo Oyedele has come to put a stop or a control to. What he's telling you is that for investors who have a total asset of up to 150, over 150 million naira, right? Or maybe they make a profit of 10 million and above within a particular year, then definitely they will be subjected to 30% tax. Initially, it was 10%, but now it is being increased. Now, why is this policy significant? Now, the significance of this policy is that when you make this money from the Nigerian stock market, it is only advisable if you reinvest this money in the stock market, because if you take it out in addition to the gain is going to be taxed. So you can see how intelligent this particular policy is. So let us look at the immediate market implication. So pre 2026 profit taking wave may likely occur. Investors cashing out before the 30% rate starts. So let's say, for instance, we already have investors who invested in January. Now they know that effective January 2026, the gains they have made, they are going to be taxed 30%. So most likely before the end of 2025, they may likely start taking out their money out of the stock market, right? So the month of November 2025 is going to be a determining factor, because I believe that as at December, the foreign portfolio investors who want to remain will likely remain. But November, they would have made up their mind. Okay, so people have to be very, very careful of the NGX, you know, in November 2025. Another implication is liquidity contraction. Fewer trades as investors hold longer to defer capital gain tax. What does this mean? It means that since investors already know that when they sell, when they make profit, they are going to be taxed, because these people, they come with huge amounts of money. Sometimes they come with millions of dollars, right? Maybe $1 million as automatically, is significant. It's already running into billions of naira, right? So definitely they've gone above the threshold of 150 million naira. Okay. So some they come with tens of millions of dollars, even hundreds of millions of dollars. You get, so they, since they know that when they make profit, the profit is going to be taxed at 30%, they may just decide to hold their investment for a longer time, because if they don't sell it, eventually they are not going to be taxed. That is what we call recognition, income recognition. So if income is not recognized, there will be no tax. So a way of avoiding this particular tax rule is just to hold this investment for quite some time. You know, so other immediate market implication is sector sensitivity. Now, what does this mean? There are some sectors that usually get high capital inflow. For instance, banking sector, telecom sector, consumer goods, right? So these sectors, they may likely be affected. However, it is mostly banking and telecom sector that will likely be affected more, because with these new reforms that is coming up in the oil sector, we can see that indigenous companies are taking over Nigerian oil sector. So I don't want to believe that there's going to be a significant change, in the value of oil stocks. Yeah, it may decline, but it may likely go up. Banking sector, telecom sector, is usually sector sensitive. Although we still believe that with this current administration, more people will invest, in our indigenous companies, right, including our banks and our telecom companies. So retail investors mostly unaffected. Now they are telling you that if your investment is less than 150 million naira, you are exempted from this capital gain tax. Okay, so how many people have 150 million naira as random investment over and over again? So what Taiwo Oyedele has said is that mostly 99% of retail investors, they are exempted. So they believe that 99% of Nigerians that are investing in stock market are exempted, because truly they may not have up to that 150 million naira. Okay, so I think this is a very, very good policy. They have the interests of Nigerians at heart. That's on one hand. And secondly, on the other hand, he wants the stock market to grow. He wants the money that is being invested into the stock market to remain in the stock market. The gains should also remain in the stock market or be reinvested into the stock market. I think it's a very, very good policy that will be applauded. Of course, there are some side effects, there are some other sides, there are flip sides of this particular policy. So just stay with me as we go through. Now, what do you think investors will do with this policy? If you were to be an investor, what would you likely to do? They will rebalance towards dividend and long-term holdings. Exactly. So if I were to be an investor with 1 billion naira in the stock market, what I'm going to do is to invest in stocks that pay dividend, constant dividend, on the long term. So let's should I give recommendations? Okay, let's say stocks like Zenith, Chitico, United Capital. These are stocks that are renowned for paying constant dividend. So what investors will do, foreign portfolio investors will do, just to invest in these stocks for a very, very long period, and they'll keep getting dividend. They will not be paying tax on the dividend. They will only pay 10% dividend tax, right? But the main profit they are making, capital appreciation, they may not be paying tax on that. You get, so it's a smart way of avoiding the tax. Okay, don't forget I'm also a UK tax consultant. Okay, so stagger disposals to stay under 150 million naira or 10 million gaps, 10 million gain caps. So what they do is that rather than selling all their investment at once, they decide to sell it over a period of time, to not to meet up the total threshold, of 150 million naira, or not to meet up the profit of 10 million naira for a particular year. You can see it is also a smart one. Rather than just selling all the investment at once and making profit of 10 million naira or a revenue of 150 million naira, they sell it over a period of time. Another thing that may happen is cross deals. Okay, so they can pass it out, to other buyers off market, right? But I still believe the tax authorities should look for a way to monitor cross deals. Okay, so exploit reinvestment relief. They sell, then rotate capital within the NGX, right? So within other stocks. Since the tax policy has said if you sell this stock, you make profit and you are taking the money out of the capital market, you are going to pay 30% tax. So what these people will do is basically they are going to sell stocks. If they make profit, they will still reinvest it in other stocks and they will keep making more money. You get, so this is exactly what the policy intends to achieve, to grow our indigenous market. And of course, it is a very, very good one. So foreign funds may reprice risk or pivot to Kenya, South Africa, or Ghana. So this is on the flip side. On the other side, they may say, we what will be the next policy that will come up when our funds are already being trapped in the capital market? Are we going to trust this country? What happens after 2026? What happens in 2027 when an election is done? Will the current administration remain? Will they continue with these policies? Is there consistency in Nigeria economy, or we just go to a more stable economy like Kenya, South Africa, or Ghana? These are some of the things that definitely investors will look at. Okay, so if they decide to follow this earlier loopholes I've said, on the NGX, it is better for NGX, it is also better for them. However, if they decide to look at other markets, it is not good for NGX. So what I will encourage us to do as a nation is to have consistent policies. So companies that are living, investors that are living, most times is because our policies are not consistent. Somebody give out the policy when investors are trying to adjust, it becomes another administration comes and give a policy that makes them to start from all over again. So let me just give you an instance under uh, CBN under Emefiele. Several investors, they could hardly move their funds out of the country because there's a cap on the amount of US dollar that they could move out of the country, so their funds were trapped. But when Tinubu came in, under the CBN governor Yemi Cardoso, he has said it's fine. If you want to move out your money, you are free to move any amount of money you want to move. It is your money. So you can see this is a good policy, but it did not continue with the earlier policy. So the inconsistency in policies can weary investors. However, this is a very, very good one. And I think Taiwo Oyedele needs to be applauded, for this policy. And of course, I will encourage you to please stay tuned for more rich content. Like I said, a video is going to come up later in this year that is going to give an overall guide, for 2026. Please stay tuned. Please follow me, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye bye.